What's going on, family? Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for clicking on the video. Hopefully you'll be able to learn something, or at least your mind will be probed to think just a little bit. If you're a subscriber or just a watcher, I appreciate it. I'm Professor X with Professor X Perspective, where I talk about religion, race, career, and a whole lot about relationships. After being married 20 years and divorced, I share my story and other experiences that I may come across that maybe would help somebody, or that would just engage the comment section, as everybody else have their own experiences and thoughts and ideas. So I appreciate it. Why it is important for women to be healed before they enter into a relationship. I think that's what I'm going to title it. It may change, but that's what the subject matter will be. In the videos that I have made, and when I came to YouTube, I made up my mind that I was going to share my story, and that was going to kind of be my starting point for YouTube. I was going to share my divorce story, and because I knew that several people have gone through their own challenges, and that maybe it would just help somebody, some man, some woman, realize that you're not alone. Not everybody is connected to people and has friends and family and support. So for a lot of things, humanity in this day and age will rely very heavily on social media, YouTube, to just feel like they are a part of a like-minded community. So that's pretty much what I wanted to do, to just have a community of like-minded people that love relationships, been through bad relationships, been through good relationships, have their own perspective. That's what I wanted to do. However, when you are sharing personal things about your life to strangers, so there are people that I see posting comments often. There are people that I would say, as far as the YouTube world is concerned, that's a friend of mine, they support me. But at the end of the day, we're all just strangers. I'm talking to the camera, you're watching, you're commenting. We really know nothing about each other's lives. Just a comment that may be made or a statement that I may make. But talking about your life definitely makes you vulnerable. And it can produce feelings that you may not have felt in a while. I did one video where I'm assuming it was some young whippersnapper. He said, "Man, you look like you was about to cry on the video," and he did the little laughing emoji. I guess I assume he thought he was cutting me down. Stop it, man. I'm from the 90s. You got to do way. Listen, if you think you're going to get me, Professor X, you got to do way better than that. We spent 45 minutes every morning on a school bus joning each other. That's what we used to call it in the Midwest. We went back and forth. So unless you got 50 hours of material where you can go back and forth, those words, yeah. But I'm thankful for my mature crowd, because they handled the situation. But it's just interesting, because again, you put your life out there, and having people receive it, that's how they receive it, but it definitely makes you vulnerable. I just wanted that to be clear. We're sharing, I'm sharing. I do my best to be honest about my life. Things that may pertain to my ex that she is not here to defend, I tried to stay away. I tried just to stick with just me, or something that was said directly to me by her. I try not to get into her personal situation. but she's not here to defend it. And I think that's only fair. But I was thinking yesterday, I was in a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was thinking, and some thoughts came up that I hadn't thought about since 2014. Me and my ex-wife, wife at the time, 2014, went through a traumatic situation, and we was trying to deal with it. Not like a death in her family, anything like that. Just within our relationship, it took a big hit. And I said to her, what caused your mind to go here? What made you think this way? I'll never forget what she told me, because I wasn't expecting this type of response. But I appreciate the fact that she said it this way, because it was a very real and open statement. She said, I wanted to feel loved. I said, so when was the last time that you would say you felt love? Now, for those of you that don't know my story, by 2014, that means that we got married in 97. So that means that we was already married at that time. This is 17 years in, 16, 17 years in when this statement is made. So just keep that in mind. I got married at 20, so that means this statement was made when I was about 37 years old. She got married at 18, so again, just do the math. This ain't early on. This is 17 years in. I just want to feel love. When was the last time you would say you felt loved? In the relationship that she was in before she got married. It's not funny. And I know everybody has an opinion. Everybody has something to say. But when you have been married for 17 years at the time, and regardless of what has happened in that time, and again on other videos I've shared how we stayed together for the kids, and we come to find out that wasn't necessarily the best idea. Raised in a conservative religious environment, and so divorce was kind of off the table, even though our devotion wasn't necessarily to God, right? It was more to the fear and knowing what people would say. So we had to deal with all of that. All of that was going on. And you married to someone who says, ultimately, like I'm putting this in parentheses now, right? I never felt loved, even in the beginning stages of the last time I felt loved was in the relationship that I was in before you and I ever got engaged. And we've been married now for 17 years. Ladies and gentlemen, those words. Did I think that our marriage was perfect? Man, no. Did I think she would say, I've been in love with you and I know you've been in love with me, even though guys don't really talk like the in love part. We love and we protect and we try to do those things, but not many guys just gonna say, I'm in love. I mean, I think T-Pain or somebody say I'm in love with a strip, but most men, that ain't how we talk. Even if we are overly into a person, we don't really, I ain't never had a homeboy say, Professor X, I'm in love with her. We don't talk like that. Don't be offended, ladies, we just don't talk like that. We're not using extra emotions to describe our feelings towards women most of the time. We're just gonna say how great she is. Like, that's a great woman, man. She really, she really caters to me. She loves me. She takes care of me. We support one another. We're gonna talk more like that. And then from that, we understand he really loves her. So I knew that our marriage, she was not going to say certain things, but to say the last time I felt loved was when I was dating the guy before I started talking to you. When she married me, she had just turned 18 3 months prior. So the last time she felt love was when she was 16, 17 years old, 16. And when she's making this statement, she was in her 30s. And I say to myself, now, looking back, not then, now looking back, I say to myself, how was that possible? And this is what I want to help particularly ladies with. For those that don't know, when my ex-wife was very, very young, formative years, her mother had a mental episode and left the home, left the state to go be with other family for 2 to 3 years. When my ex-wife was around 5 to 6 years old. Gone, 3 years. She was raised by her father. Her brother, 2 other sisters. Was raised by her father. I did not know that piece of information till years after we was divorced. And we never talked about it. We never discussed it. It never came, nothing at all. But looking back, knowing what I know about the mind and psychology and repressed memory and suppressed memory, knowing what I know now through life and education, I realized that moment, right? Because it has to be terrifying to be 5 years old and you wake up and mom is not there. Most 5-year-olds cling to mom because dad is going to work and mom may work, but it's still just the nourishing that's taking place. Most 5-year-olds, for the most part, is clinging to mom. Now you wake up and mom is gone, and how can an adult tell a child in a way that a child can understand mom is gone, and mom is gone indefinitely? So you can't say she'll be back tomorrow, she'll be back in a week. That wouldn't even translate in a 5-year-old's mind anyway. Maybe tomorrow, but you said a month. What is that? So you just wake up in the morning and mom is gone. Again, knowing what I know now, it would almost, and was gone for 3 years. It would almost have to be as if someone had passed in your life from the thought process of a 5-year-old, right? It would almost have to be that way because there's no, you don't have no idea. All you know is dad is now the only one here. All the issues that would come, those of us that understand life and humanity and people and the mind and the conscious and the subconscious, all you know is dad is the one that's here. And the issues that come with that I did not know when we got married. I don't blame her necessarily for not telling me. I know some people in some of the comments, they was like, man, she should have told you. Well, the reason that I'm so lenient is because I don't believe that she even considered her past from when she was 5 years old, that those memories still haunt her spirit. I don't believe. That's why we was able to go 20 years in our marriage and never discussed it. All the trips we took, riding hours. We drove from the Midwest to the Carolinas almost every year. 16-hour trip. All that driving, all that time on a plane. Not one conversation about a traumatic event that had happened in her life. Well, it happened. I didn't know about it. So, and she told a story again after we was divorced to a mutual friend of ours, in trying to show, because I feel like our friend, who was also a female, was just trying to figure out, like, man, what happened? You know, y'all seem like this and that. And then my ex trying to make me seem like I was no good, or at least her perspective of it made mention that when we first got married, we got into an argument, and Professor X, she said my name, of course, left. We was in an apartment, left the apartment, and left me alone for 2 to 3 hours, which I did as a cool down moment, like most people would suggest. If that's what you have to do, then one of y'all have to go into cool down, whether it's going to the other room. For me, I like to drive, so it's always take a drive, go somewhere, chill out, come back, figure out what you're going to do next. But I didn't know. So when I said, probably as a man, a young man, you know what I'm saying, talking all loud and boisterous, I'm not saying that I said I'm leaving in a nice way. Yeah, I probably said, man, I'll be back. This is crazy. I'll be back, man. I'm going to clear my mind, because this is crazy. That's probably how I said it. No lie. That's probably how I said it. Most people, when they mad, that's going to be how they talk. And depending on how your voice already is and the aggression that's already in you, it may come out even, it may come out a little rough sounding. But when I was gone, her mind, and I'm just having to say what I see now. We never had a conversation about this. I'm going by what I see now. Her subconscious, those repressed memories, the feeling of the abandonment by a loved one. And this is probably within year 1 of our marriage. That feeling came back up in her. Again, this is not a conversation we had. This is what Professor X has understood after the fact. I didn't know this until after the divorce, 2 or 3 years after the divorce. Those feelings came up in her. Those would be very negative feelings, right? Because the pain hit so hard when I was 5, I repressed it. I suppressed it. I want nothing to do with it. Then again, right, gone 3 years, come back, everything. But now, my husband, in the first year of our marriage, is making me feel like I felt when I was 5, even though I don't understand that that's what I'm feeling. All I know is I'm feeling a certain type of way, and I don't like it, and it's strong. And the way that I would say it is, darkness is coming in. My behavior that I thought was innocent was causing darkness to come in, because my ex-wife was not healed. Now, I was immature. My side, I tell my story, and I will continue to tell my story. So I wasn't a perfect husband in the way that he talked to his wife and different things like that. No, I was very immature. I was coming more from a street type mentality, but raised in the church, so it's kind of mixed together, but I was still very much immature. So no, I was not perfect. But the move that I was making in a normal sense would not have been so drastic as to make walls go up. And they went up. That's why I say I really believe that because of the ignorance that I had of not knowing her history, I was pushing a wound that was not healed properly or at all. It was just left alone. And it brought damage to her mind as she saw me. So 17 years later, when other things had taken place and the ups and the downs, and now children is in the picture, and we've got a whole story to tell, she can honestly say, the last time I truly felt love was before you. Because early on, you hurt me. Now, she ain't going to know where that come from, right? She not going to know that it's when you left and I felt abandonment, and then I could not trust you any further. And so the walls go up, which leads to disconnection, which I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect coming from. You can't tell me because you don't even know to tell me that this is what tore you up. So and disconnection brings other issues. So anyway, ladies, please, first of all, don't jump in the comments, ladies, if you don't. You can say whatever you want, right? But as I say, oftentimes, ask yourself, is it true? Because we don't want to just go back and, well, Professor X, the men need therapy too. We do. Most of the time, though, it's probably how to deal with our anger and become more disciplined of how we handle our bodies. But most of the time, we have anger, especially black men, we're going to have anger and rage issues for the most part. And there could be stuff from our past that needs to be told that may play a part too. But when you're really talking about emotional damage to the mind, ladies, please, before you present yourself to a man for a relationship that you want it to be whole, please make sure you are healed.